You know exactly what you need to do. You even made a plan. Maybe you wrote it in a notebook. Maybe you created a schedule. Maybe you told yourself, this time I'm going to be consistent. Monday you start, Tuesday you're still going, then life gets busy. One day you skip, then another, and suddenly the goal that felt so important 2 weeks ago is sitting somewhere in the background of your life untouched. And here is the interesting part: nobody asks you about it. Nobody says, you said you were going to do this. What happened? Nobody knows whether you showed up. Nobody knows whether you quit. So slowly, you stop asking yourself to. Karyans, maybe the problem is not that you don't have goals. Maybe the problem is this: when you stop showing up, who notices? And even more important question, who keeps you accountable when motivation disappears? Today, let's talk about accountability, not as a pressure, not as someone controlling your life, but as one of the most powerful systems that can help you keep the promises you make to yourself. Namaste, Karyans. I'm Vanitha Ganeshmurthy, the founder of Karyasiddi Productivity Hub and your Vedic Karyan Productivity Coach. Welcome back to Vedic Productivity Talks. This is episode 336, day 18 of our 21-day race of the Karyan season 3. Over the last few episodes, we have spoken about protecting your future from urgency. We have spoken about mental energy. We have spoken about focus, discipline, routines, and consistency. But today, I want to talk about something that can determine whether all of the knowledge actually becomes action: accountability. Because knowing what to do and actually continuing to do it are two very different things. So let's begin. Let's be honest. Most of us don't struggle because we don't know what to do. You already know that you should exercise. You know you should work on your important goals. You know scrolling for hours is not helping you. You know that consistency matters. You know you need to plan your day. The knowledge is not always the problem. The question is, who knows whether you are actually doing it? Think about it. When you have to submit something to a client, you do it. When you have an important meeting, you show up. When someone is expecting you, you prepare. Why? Because there is accountability. Someone is waiting, someone expects something. There is a consequence if you do not show up. But when it comes to you and your personal goals, sometimes the only person who knows about the commitment is only you. And that creates a dangerous loophole. Because when you don't show up, you can quietly negotiate with yourself: I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes next week. And next week becomes when life settles down. And suddenly, the goal disappears. Not because you consciously decided to give up, but because nobody interrupted your excuses. One of the beautiful ideas in a Vedic tradition is the importance of satsang. We spoke about this earlier in our journey. Satsang is not simply about being around people, it is about being the company of the people and influence the elevate you and support your higher direction. Your environment always matters. Your circle always matters. And Karyans, the people around you can either make it easier to drift or remind you what you said you wanted to become. When you are trying to build discipline alone, every excuse can sound reasonable. But when you are part of the committed circle, something changes. You are reminded. You observe others showing up. You see consistency being practiced. And sometimes simply knowing that you have to report back is enough to help you take action on the day you really don't feel like it. That is not weakness, that is intelligent system design. A Karyan understands something important. You don't have to depend only on willpower. You can build an environment that helps you honor your commitment. Let's look at the difference. The isolated goal setter says, I will motivate myself. But the Karyan says, what system will help me show me even when I don't feel like motivated? The isolated goal setter hides when they fall behind. The Karyan checks in, reflects, adjusts, and start again. The isolated goal setter asks, Do I feel like doing this today? The Guardian asks, what did I commit to? That is accountability, not punishment, not guilt, not someone shouting at you. It is simply creating a structure where your commitment does not disappear just because your mood changes. Imagine two people who both decide to wake up early and exercise. The first person tells themselves, tomorrow 6 a.m., no excuses. The alarm ring, they are tired, they negotiate, just today I'll sleep a little longer, and nobody knows. So they sleep. The second person has committed to meeting someone at 6 a.m. Now the alarm rings, they're still tired, they still don't feel like getting up, but someone is waiting. And suddenly, the commitment becomes stronger than the mood. Same person, same alarm, same tiredness, different system. That is what accountability can do. It creates a bridge between what you want and what you actually do. Guardians, accountability does not mean you need someone to constantly chase you. That is not the goal. The goal is to eventually build self accountability. But here is something we often misunderstand: external accountability can help us develop internal discipline. In the beginning, you may need to report your progress. You may need reminders. You may need a group. You may need someone to ask, did you do what you said you would do? And slowly, that question becomes your own. You begin asking yourself every evening, did I honor my commitment today? That is growth. The goal is not to depend on someone forever, the goal is to become someone who can trust themselves. Starting today, I want you to use three questions. At the end of your day, ask questions for yourself. Question number one: what did I committed to do today? Be specific. Question number two: did I show up for it? Yes or no? No excuses, no stories, just honesty. Question number three: if I did, what needs to change tomorrow? Notice, this is not about blaming yourself. A Karyan does not say, I failed again. A Karyan says, what broke in the system? Maybe the goal was unrealistic. Maybe you did not schedule it. Maybe distraction took over. Maybe you need support. Maybe you simply need to restart tomorrow. Accountability is not about making you feel bad. Accountability is about making reality visible. And once again, reality is visible. You can improve it. Today's practice is called the daily check in. Tonight, before you sleep, take 5 minutes, write down my commitment for today. What did I ask I would do? Then write, did I do it? Yes or no? And finally, my commitment for tomorrow. One important action, not 10. One. Then tomorrow, show up again. Do this for the next 7 days. And don't worry about being perfect. The goal is not perfection. The goal is to stop disappearing from your own commitments without noticing. Before you leave today, think about this. How many goals have you started with excitement and quietly abandoned? Not because they stopped mattering, but because no one asked you to about them again. Now ask yourself, if someone asked you every single week, how far have you come? Would your actions change? If the answer is yes, then maybe accountability is something you need to take more seriously. Because sometimes we don't need more motivation, we need a system that makes it harder to disappear from our own goals. And Karyans, this is exactly why I believe transformation becomes easier when you do not walk alone. You can watch every video, read every book, listen to every podcast, and still struggle to apply what you know because knowledge can inspire you, but practices change you. Inside the Vedic Aryan Launchpad, the journey is not simply about listening and productivity concepts, it is about becoming part of a space where you begin practicing. You reflect, you take action, you identify your distractions, you work on your routines, and you don't have to keep restarting your journey alone every Monday. You become part of a community of people who are also trying to become more focused, disciplined, and intentional because Karyans, a powerful circle can remind you of your commitment when you temporarily forget it yourself. If you are tired or setting goals alone, starting alone and quietly giving up alone. Maybe it's time to experience what happens when you build alongside a committed community. Before you leave, write down one goal you're currently working on, then answer honestly, who knows about this goal? And more importantly, who will know if I stop? If your answer is nobody, maybe today is the day to change that. Find your accountability partner, find your circle, or join a system that helps you keep showing up. And in the comment, write, I will show up because I will be a Karyan. Not perfectly, not every day with motivation, but with the commitment. That's day 18 of the Race of the Karyan Mindset. Karyans, if this episode made you realize that you do not need another motivational speech, but maybe a stronger system of accountability, share it with someone who keeps saying, this time I'll be consistent. But do not forget to subscribe to the Vedic Productivity Talks. And if you're ready to stop walking this journey alone, if you're ready to turn knowledge into action with structure, practice, and accountability, join us inside the Vedic Karyan Launchpad, Raise of the Karyan, because a Karyan does not just set goals, a Karyan show up for them. Until tomorrow, think like a Karyan, live like a Karyan, rise like a Karyan, 1% every day, one baby step at a time. Until then, be productive. Jai Karyan, Jai Hind.